What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today for another video. It's been so long since I've recorded a video, and that's a combination of things. One, I took my own Olympic break. Two, I've had the Wolves, and I recorded a lot of videos that went out right during the start of the Olympic break, and this one was partially recorded, and then I had to stop due to some unforeseen things that were going on. So right now we have a video on every trade that's been made so far this season. We're just going to go through them all before the deadline because with the deadline comes, that's a whole nother bag of chips that are whatever that I'm not willing to crack at with all of this already happening. So we're going to go through all these, and then I also have another video planned, so hopefully we'll get that done as well. Starting off, we have all of these in order. So at the start of this is from day one of the season. I believe October 5th the season started with Chicago, or October 7th, Chicago and Florida. Any trade from that day forward is good as on this board. Starting with Phoenix Copley being sent back to LA for future considerations. I believe Tampa claimed him off waivers briefly, send him right back to LA because Copley's going to be in LA forever. Kyle Masters gets sent out to San Jose in exchange for Oscar Olesen. Minor deal there. A lot of minor deals to start the year. 2027 fourth round pick going to Chicago in exchange for Lukas Reichel. That was the biggest trade of that point. Reichel has not worked out in Vancouver at all. He's been playing with Abbotsford. So I was critical of Davidson at that, only getting a fourth, but it's our own fourth round pick back. Reichel hasn't panned out in Abbotsford, or Vancouver, I should say. And the Hawks have an extra roster spot, so works out fine. Sammy Tuamala, it goes to Dallas in exchange for Christian Kyrou, the brother of Jordan Kyrou, going to Philadelphia. Washington gets Shumanen, I think that's how you pronounce it, in exchange for the journeyman Calle Rosen going to St. Louis. Rosen never really developed at the NHL level. Ottawa gets Dennis Gilbert, who I believe they've had before, in exchange for Gannett going to Philadelphia. LA gets Nikita Alexandrov in exchange for St. Louis gets Akil Thomas. So a little bit of NHL experience there, minor deal, as all these are. Then Philadelphia gets Schmidt, not Nate Schmidt, and Tampa Bay gets Sampson. So those were the minor deals. Reichel, obviously, the biggest deal there. One moment. Sorry about that. That was my dog. But then stuff really started happening. On the same day, two trades happened regarding the Oilers. A 2027 third-round pick is sent to Nashville, and Spencer Stastny goes to the Oilers. And then later that day, Stuart Skinner's moved to Pittsburgh along with Brent Kulak and a 2029 second in exchange for Tristan Jarry and Sammy Poulin. I thought this trade was weird because Jarry and Skinner are essentially the same goaltender, both very inconsistent. Somehow Pittsburgh getting the second round pick out of that, I don't know. I would have thought Edmonton honestly deserved the second round pick based off what Pittsburgh got back. But Stan Bowman's made moves before. I'm not going to question it at this point. Then the big one happens. Vancouver gets Marco Rossi, Liam Ogren, Zeev Buium, and a 2026 first. Going the other way is Quinn Hughes, obviously the biggest trade here so far this year. And it's essentially 4 first-rounders, 3 former first-rounders, and a future first for Quinn Hughes. And a lot of complaints that that's all Vancouver got. At the time, I thought it was pretty even. I thought this was a good move for both teams. And we'll see if Vancouver can develop Rossi, Ogren, Buium, and that first-round pick into part of their rebuild, retool, whatever they got going on. Then Montreal gets Philip Deneau back in exchange for a 2026 second, giving his wish to be dealt. Goes back to Montreal and provides some solid center depth down the middle. He was good in Montreal. So Deneau, he's not as playing a prominent role as I believe he was in LA. So for Deneau down the lineup, good solid bottom 6 center at this point. Then Seattle and Columbus make a confusing deal. Mason Marchment goes to Columbus, and he's actually played pretty well in Columbus for a 2027 second and a 2026 fourth going to Seattle. Judging where both teams are in the standings, it's just a weird move, but it's fine. Then another minor deal. Tampa Bay gets Milne. Minnesota gets Boris Kachuk, the former Blackhawk. We go back up here. Pittsburgh and Columbus make a deal as Igor Chinakov's wish to be dealt was granted. He goes to Pittsburgh in exchange for Danton Heinen, a 2026 second and a 2027 third. I think that's a pretty good move for Columbus there. But Chinakov's played well in Pittsburgh, so I can't discredit that either. Then bizarre world happens. Philadelphia gets Philip Tomasino, guy that just hasn't really developed with Pittsburgh. and Philadelphia sends Zumala to Pittsburgh. So not a very long distance for the trade, but Zumala refused to report to Philadelphia. He's waived and put on unconditional waivers for buyout, or just termination of the contract. Then he signs with Columbus, and I believe he's playing with Cleveland. So I don't know what the deal was there that Zumala wouldn't report, but oh well. And then Carolina and Arizona make a deal, and this one flew under the radar because Valimaki, the prospect he was, is now kind of gone. But Valimaki goes to Carolina in exchange for future considerations going to Arizona. And I've seen Valimaki play firsthand with the Chicago Wolves, and he's been phenomenal with the Wolves. He had a 7-game point streak going for a bit. Of course, he's not in Carolina, but just from my experience with the Wolves, he's been pretty good in the AHL system. Chicago and San Jose then make a deal. Jake Furlong, the contract of Ryan Ellis, and a 2028 fourth-round pick go to Chicago in exchange for Nolan Allen, Laurent Brossoit, and a 2028 seventh. Pretty even deal. The Hawks need Ellis' contract to get to the cap floor next year since it ends the year after this one. Furlong and Allen kind of swap. I was hoping Allen wouldn't be moved, but I understand why he was. There's just not enough room for him. Brossoit opens up a spot in goaltending. And Hawks get the better pick out of it, so it's a win for me. Then Anaheim gets Veal in exchange for a 2026 fourth going to Boston. It's a bit of a playing time thing, and Veal did really well in his first 3 games in Anaheim, and I haven't heard his name since. Carolina then gets Kyle Masters from San Jose, who's traded up all the way up here, along with a 2026 fourth in exchange for a 2027 fifth going to San Jose, and that was to clear a roster spot, and that was pretty obvious there. We just didn't know what it was for yet. Then another big trade happens. Rasmus Anderson, rumored to be going to Vegas forever. He goes to Vegas. For Zach Whitecloud, Weeby, a 2027 first, and a 2028 second, which can become a first-round pick as well. So Calgary, from the Hanifin deal, has this year's first, next year's first, and has potential to be 2028's first as well from Vegas. So hope Vegas is enjoying seeing their first-round picks head to Calgary, but yeah. San Jose then picks up Kiefer Sherwood in a buying move. So that was really strange. I'm not sure why. San Jose was playing really well at the time. So they started going downhill towards the tip of the break. If they extend Sherwood, great. It's a good move. But they give up Clayton, who is a whatever minor leaguer, a 2026 second and a 2027 second for him. So they hope they extend him. And if they don't make the playoffs and let him go for nothing, I'm going to have many questions to ask. Minor deal here. Solioff goes to Pittsburgh in exchange for Pustinet and a 2026 seventh going to Colorado. Minor deal here. Gavin Bayreuther, who I'd seen play with the Wolves all season, goes to Buffalo as they shore up their defensive depth. And young prospect Victor Neuchev comes to the Carolina. He's been playing with the Wolves. Scored his first goal with the Wolves last week. Doesn't speak a lot of English, having seen him personally. But he's got some skill. They've been playing him on the fourth line for a while. They've moved him up to the second. 6 minutes into the first game he was on the second line, he scored. So he got his first goal there. And he just looks a lot better on that second line than he did on a fourth. He's a skill guy. You want him in that top 6. Islanders then decide they're going to buy. Soucy goes to the Islanders in exchange for a 2026 third going to the Rangers. Only the 4th deal in the history between the Islanders and the Rangers. Islanders weren't done yet. I believe it was the same day or the next day. Andre Palat gets traded to the Islanders in a bit of a cap dump for New Jersey. They also acquire a 2026 third and a 2027 sixth. Palat scores in his first game with the Islanders and has been a solid presence so far with the Islanders. No complaints there. New Jersey gets Maxim Tiplikov, or Siplikov. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But NHLer, we'll see if he sticks around in New Jersey or what that's going to mean for him. Then we have 3 more deals. Dallas, a minor league deal here. Dallas ends up getting Poirier. Calgary gets Gavin White. It's whatever deal. New Jersey gets Nick Bjugstad for some reason. And then St. Louis gets Bordeleau in a 2026 fourth. Again, we'll see what happens there because New Jersey's not looking too hot right now. And then the last deal, another big deal, but a very underwhelming deal. The LA Kings acquire Artemi Panarin for prospect Liam Greentree, who was a former first-round pick, as well as a 2026 third, which led a lot of people to say, that's it. I believe LA retained, or the Rangers retained half his salary. So I think a lot of teams are confused why there wasn't more of a bidding war going on, why teams wouldn't cough that up. That or the Rangers just might be really high on Liam Greentree. We don't know. Anyway, guys, that's all the trades that have happened since the start of the season. As we head now after the Olympic break, the trade freeze is going to resume, and we're going to head right toward the deadline. Of course, the day of the deadline, I will be working the Illinois High School Championships, so I will not be. That starts at 2, so I'll see the entire deadline, start working, talk to about it with a bunch of people who actually know what's going on, and I will come back and discuss this once the deadline's over. So I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.